A pleasant morning, BS at English Tracy, and a pleasant morning, Miss Princess Diane Mercado. And for today's topic, I am going to discuss to you choosing books and reading materials. So, by the way, I am Nino Andrew Balmaris Leg, your presenter for today's discussion. So, before we proceed with our discussion, let me ask you this question. Let me leave you this question. So, what are the factors to consider in choosing books and reading materials? So, if you wish to answer this question, please leave your answers on our chat box and on our chat box. So, let's move on to our discussion with our formal discussion. So, children who choose their own books have an early advantage, so it helps them make independent choices, develop literacy, likes and dislikes, and understand their own reading abilities. So explore different independent strategies for children and how to choose books. So young children are repeatedly in a position where adults choose their books. So teachers and parents pick books with the best intentions and usually for reading development, but not always to develop a love of reading. So we need to teach them how to choose books to read by themselves. So children who have opportunities to choose their own books have an early advantage. So it helps them to make independent choices, develop literacy preferences, understand their own reading ability, and choose books for a specific needs. So training students on how to choose books to read independently, the sooner they will recognize their reading preferences as they get older, they will have strategies to determine the best material for their own academic endeavors, right? So, children may pick books that are too hard or too easy, but this is part of the process. So they won't understand their own reading preferences and ability until they choose books that they can read or don't want to read. So very young children will not choose the books to read independently, but they can start the process from an early stage. So here we are going to learn the strategies on how to choose books to read. So children who read for pleasure are more likely to be developed or to be successful in school. So part of the developing this success is giving them the skills on how to choose books to read independently, right? So they are more likely to want to read a book that they have chosen rather than a teacher or parent. So choosing a book can be overwhelming task for many children. So as teachers, we can guide them through the process. So with a few effective strategies, it gets easier and becomes a habit for a lifetime. So how do we help children make appropriate independent choices? So here are a few strategies to help. So the first one is strategies for how to choose books to read. So the first step is to find out what your students enjoy reading. So let them loose in your classroom or school library to see what they choose for themselves. So you won't be surprised by the choices. You may be surprised by the choices they make. So have a quick chat to discover their thought process, or you may find you have a class of fantasy lovers or ones who enjoy nonfiction. So ask them, did they pick the book from the cover? Have they read it before? Or did they pick up any book because they felt overwhelmed by the task? So take note of any common preferences and interests to inform your read aloud choices. So teachers are influential in developing a love of reading, in children. So this means we need to promote their access to a varied selection of reading materials. So, for example, um, graphic novels and magazines can have as much impact on reading as traditional books. So that is the first strategy. Strategies how to choose books to read. So the next one we have use the front cover. So give them time to explore books in your classroom or school library. Ask them to choose a book just from the front cover. So what book covers interest them? Isn't it colorful, bold, realistic, fantasy, muted, animals, people, and etc. So once the children have chosen a book by the cover, so teach them about the benefits of the book blurb. So even though the blurb on a picture book or an easy reader is small, there will be enjoy information for them to make an initial decision. So does the book still interest them? Or if so, get them to explore random pages to further gauge their interest. So that is the second strategy. Use the front cover in choosing book or reading materials. So the next strategy is exploring the interests of your student. So exploring books opens up discussions about a child's interest. So if a book doesn't represent a child's preferred genre or genres, so they will be less inclined to choose it. So they will be more motivated if the topic is something they enjoy. So as your student questions, so for inspiration and help them narrow down their interest. So ask them, do they like the scary or funny books? Um, Ask them, who is your favorite character or author? So do they enjoy fiction or non-fiction? What kind of movies or and TV shows do you like to watch? And what type of books don't you like? So ask them that questions. So you are lucky enough to have if you are lucky to have um school library, take advantage. So libraries are full of fiction books. So but they also carry non-fiction books for all ages. So you will find books on every topic that a child gets obsessed with. So including dinosaurs, transport, animals, sports, or natural disasters. And adding nonfiction into the mix can be a game changer for some struggling readers and make them more likely to pick up a book for pleasure. That is the strategy number three, exploring the interests of your students. So the next one, find a book series to follow. So another great strategy is to find a book series students can get invested in. So they will enjoy following the same characters through different adventures and benefit from knowing the book is a good fit. So the problem arises when they finish the series and find it hard to move on. So do some research of your own on different series so you have suggestions to offer. So some authors write down one series which will help children move from one series to another. So being unable to move from one series to another is a phase for some children. So a book series can be like a comfort blanket. So especially if they are struggling to integrate new reading strategies. So you need to find a book series to follow. That is the fourth strategy in choosing books and reading materials. And for the fifth and the second to the last strategy, we have understanding, we need to understand reading level and ability. So part of the process involves helping children select a book that not only interests them, but they can read. So this involves a lot of trial and error and is a crucial part of the process. So we also have the five finger rule in understanding the reading level and the ability of our student. So the five finger rule is one way for children to gauge whether a book is within their reading ability. So it is a versatile strategy that can be used with any reading materials. So the process of the five finger rule is after choosing a book, the students select a page at random and read it. So when they come across a word they don't know and understand, um, they raise a finger. So if they um have four or five fingers up, the book will be too hard for them. And if they have zero or one finger up, the book will be too easy for them. So that is the fifth and the second to the last strategy, understanding reading level and ability. So the last one and strategy, and here are the helpful questions on how to choose books to read. So the first one, what type of book are you looking for? So ask them, what type of the book are you looking for? Are you looking for fiction or nonfiction? Are you looking for something funny, scary, and adventurous? Next is, does the book cover spark interest? The next one, does the cover provide any clues um to the theme of the book? Does the blurb make you want to find out more about the book? Does the topic or theme of the book interest you? And is the book part of a series? Do you think you would want to read more about the characters? And do you know the author? Have you read any of their other books? And lastly, does the length of the book seem a good fit for you? So that are the helpful strategies and helpful questions on how to choose books to read. So in conclusion, um, in choosing books, there are no rules on how to choose books to read. So, but these strategies help children make appropriate choices. So each child is different, so they can determine the best strategy to help them discover the best book for their needs. So reading should be fun, otherwise, so what is the point? So as children get older, they will read for learning, but we don't want them to lose their love of learning in the meantime. So that's why we need to embed a positive attitude while they are young. So and remember, don't push children to read what they are not ready for. So you are only reinforcing the message that reading is a chore. So when children choose a book they don't like, they can put it back and choose another book. The goal is for reading to be about pleasure, not forced enjoyment. That's all for my discussion. Again, I am Nino Andrew Balmores Leg, your presenter for today. And thank you for listening. And if you have a questions, don't hesitate to ask. That's all for my discussion. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you very much.